Ladies and gentlemen, today we welcome you to something epic, something magical. I'd like to welcome you back to the Fireplace University, continuing in the long tradition of African storytelling. The poets, the philosophers, and the griots. My name is GNL Zamba. Kube chifananyi ng'oli mu kibira. Nga waliwo emmunyenye nnyingi nnyo ezaaka, nga waliwo omuliro, nga gwetooloddwa bajjajja, nga kuliko basenga, obwana buzannyazannya ne bajjajja. That's when you know it's time to riddle. Now, the songs that I'll be performing for you today are all from my first album, Koyi Koyi. Such moments of conversations is where we learn where we come from, where we're going, and where we hope to go. Are you all ready to learn? Are you all ready to elevate? Koyi Koyi, Koyi Koyi, onachilya olyachilya. 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 Banzalira mu ghetto awatali muto. GNL Zamba ninga omwana Yesu Kristo. GNL nze gye nava abana tebambala. Kuba bwe tonnya okuvaayo obeera weetaaga lyato. Okubeera nona mwense ekyali kirooto. Nawandikanga remzi zange mwana kutadooba. Kyali wange bitek nangamba nti mani. Luli balimu olifuna lwampiti kyali wange kiriba. Kakiraba yenzaliko MTV nekyamagenda. Byenkola kazinda aloba kyali babi. Nemedde ku nsonga kati ninga. Manyi gyenva. Tukirabe bangambanga nti no GNL tomalako. Naye kati mmalako bakyali. Emiziki gyenkuba kati mujuulirira mu byenda. Manyi gyenva. Koyi Koyi, Koyi Koyi, onachilya olyachilya. 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 Enensi tulinga abanyika oluwazi okulugyamu amazzi. Pita mu Kampala ndeba bangi batunula ngazi. Abavubuka ennaku zino ebizibu bibagobanga basezi. Bwembeera nkuba lwayi munanga oluusi ndaba abachwezi. Naye nenfunaho nga fesi yange giraba eri ku mwezi. Bubuka lemerako obanga Sylvester na lemerako ng'onoonya answer to the riddle of Koyi Koyi. Wadde ng'obulamu bw'okyanga effumbiro lya sitaani. Nga oli golingayiga ebisedo butaano ku mizaani. Nga n'obulamu kusalanga biso by'abasulutaani. Koyi Koyi oteeka okubeera ne plan. Nzejjukira mwaka gwali 2005. Big brother we yachakira wano ne Gaetano. Nali ku East Africa TV Mwana channel. We nasooka okuba rap mu lulimi olwa wano. Shadrack Nampita, Mother Africa neba all star. Tulidde waawadi twalina squad. Nga mukwandula ebigambo tubeera nga basirikale mu Baghdad. GNL kati nkomyewo album bagiyita Koyi Koyi. DJ Great. Koyi Koyi, Koyi Koyi, onachilya olyachilya. 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 Wali olabye omusajja omukulu ng'akaba n'agezaako okusekanga naye nnaku emunyiga. Wali olabye ekoba neno ba R&B bw'afuna nange entebe enkalu ku lunaku lwalo. Oyo sekise gw'olaba bamuyita nanshinga. Bw'omulaba mu bbala gw'olowooza kumbe mwana muwala ng'omubiri gwe gwadi. Okulaba nti nafunira abaana b'obulamu obusinga. Obuno obulamu obulinga obw'ennyanya. Sente mwana wattu tezirabika ggwe ne bw'ozinoonya. Ekyensula landirooda manje enkumi. Buli lwe mulaba musala bikuubo. Ate ne bw'ensula watonya. Obulamu ng'olimu avo obeera ng'ekyennyanja mu kamwa ka. Olaba ndi ku stage waneeno nga nzinoonya. Nayise ne bandi yange bonna tuzinoonya. Abali ku boda bodas, aba taxi, abali ku byennyanja, abavuba bonna banoonya ansa ya Koyi Koyi. Koyi Koyi. Koyi 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 Onachilya olya chilya ulira bwechilya Koyi 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 Onachilya olya chilya One more time Koyi 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 Onachilya olya chilya ulira bwechilya Koyi 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 Onachilya olya chilya ulira bwechilya. Yeah.
Why do I believe that I'm Uganda's greatest rapper? I would like to even rephrase that. I think I'm Uganda's best ghetto storyteller. And the reason why I believe I'm the best, it's not because I have myriads of fans and Tibafandi, Bangebanji, here and there, but it's because I believe I've checked all the boxes. A storyteller, a rapper is meant to take you to the dance floor. I've done that several times over. A storyteller is meant to inspire you by things in your community. And I've always used my art to serve the community. And I think that's what makes me the greatest. Because I still give a lot of credit to people like Pio Zirimu. I give credit to people like Okot Pibitek. But among that line of great storytellers, I think you'll find the name GNL Zamba. First of all, I believe I'm a reincarnation of a pharaoh. I believe I was brought here by the universe to save Lugaflow and remind people of who they are. And I've looked at so many people I've drawn the blueprint for, and right now I see the DNA, the GNL DNA in so many other rappers who are right now providing for themselves. We've created songs that have actually saved the community from disaster. I think that's a mark of greatness, where you look at what's around you and the challenges that are there, then you use your art to speak truth and your art to solve a problem. Philip Bongole Rutaya had already done his role. So for my generation who are also passing away, going to the clubs, not wearing condoms, or if it was domestic violence, we created songs like Ya Luka, we created songs like Echikufulo Musajja. And also doing that without being preachy, you know? So we saved lives, also took you to the dance floor, showed you what kind of lingo you're meant to use to win yourself a wife. So many of you owe me. So many of you owe me because you've used my lines to get girlfriends and wives. So that's what makes me Uganda's greatest storyteller, GNL.
Oh my God! Wow. And it's the world premiere, ladies and gentlemen. And it's your boy GNL Zamba. Allow me to introduce myself. If you believe it, you can achieve it. If your mind perceives it, you can receive it. We heal the broken hearts, we cry and get over it. Put me on, one time. Yawebuza lwaki ntambula nanuka ku streets nga rapper band Kampaliri nga firimu mbawusinga nga party emiziki gikuba okukira ebyuma bya ensi yali ekaluba naye ngigonzeza nga blue band GNL Katonda alimuze yenze band zijjukira ebiseera bwe batudisinga gino hip hop talivaayo batudisinga nga ffe tetumindinga nga tumanyi kino mu microphones bulimu gold ffe gwe tumindinga kiraba awadi yeffe abaziwininga esimu za shozija emotoka ez'ebbeeyi ffe zetupakinga wines eziri expensive zetusivinga mu bufo bw'ebbeeyi mwana mwe tukinga ne busekisa buli sexe Kuchako, my people one time. Yeah, ng'ebigambo by'oluyimba nga kuli instrumento bangi bali eyo mu ghetto tebalina kapito wali olabyeko embuzi ng'eralidde mu bisooto bataata bangi bwe batyo babeera nga bafaanana ng'akomyewa wakati alina amata g'abatoto nga ne maama jo gamuweddeko munywanto kuba kafoto ng'ense kuyuza ng'embuyaga bw'ebeera ng'ekuba eryato kola n'amaanyi katonda ajja kuwa omukisa va mu kukompuleininga buli ssaawa ng'odongoto obeera n'ekirooto ndabe bangi abazze Kampala nga talina wadde engatto okujjako enjoka mu lubuto ogenda okulira emyaka 5 nto yava moroto kyazimba bukoto kola n'amaanyi no retreat no surrender ye moto kwamanyi gy'ova Johnny tewali Listen, sawa mwenda ndi munsinda. It's a rainy day with some sparks of thunder. Omwana ngamba ndi kulu. She's a half muchiga run, half muganda. Type soko kumanyanga tanawala mpashitanda. Ono angel wa katonda siwa. Love is a wonder, God feelings to surrender. Benabe na yinja kumala kuonja. Shemba mukwate mpola ngabera nyigenza. Kubanga ye mukazi yasoko kunjagala. Nalinsi usenge yali yesize. Ye yalunji wanawampu wange. Nali manyi nchali nayo mulala ngalina kavu. Nayo kumenange mu bulamu bw'ekikuko obutali musavu. Mbale emyaka musanvu tuli mulavu. Ani Amanyi tizibe nade mwala wa biroda. Wali okujjako Kayibangani Jani Tewali okujjako anyone mala, ladies and gentlemen. Jani Tewali Ani Yali Amanyi Agalo kumitirizemo Kujako
The old days of the music coming up, oh my God, there's so many sweet memories. There's so many moments that I wish I could replay back. The moments where you had Baboom Forest Entertainment representing, you have Swangz Avenue holding down the production and the acts, and then you have Good Life. Good Life was killer. Everybody was moving. We're all moving at the speed of light, at the speed of sound, and we were elevating and moving on to something greater. The reason why I want to replay so many memories is because when you have your eyes focused on, like a laser on a point, you have that focus, is that you rarely take time to just pause and look at how great all of you are becoming. But I looked at everybody from either Platinum Entertainment, people who are in Swangz Avenue, I look at people in Baboon Forest Entertainment, so many other groups that don't come to mind right now, and the places that we used to go to, the conversations that we used to have. And in the context of that, I'm thinking, we were just there, but all of us were chasing the same thing, and we were united. I wish we'd bring some of that unity back. I wish we could go back to the conversations of the people that we have lost and remind people each and every day of how great they are. When I think about the new crop of rappers, in most cases I'm excited. I'm a fan of so many people, and I see them growing in their art. I'm amazed by Fefe Busi. Fefe Busi, when he decides to be serious, he's serious. Jeke Lubanto is another good one. Judas Rap Knowledge from Gulu, because we believe hip-hop is very Luga flow, and the Luga flow movement is not only in Kampala, but it's about representing wherever you are from. When we were coming up, you had to battle in order to become the greatest. I used to battle people at Sabrina's, I battled people at DV8. People would follow me to Kawempe or come to the university to battle me because I had beat them in Kasubi like 2 days before. I would walk until my Timberlands were dusty, to Ntinda to go battle Lumix, go battle LG, or go battle somebody, wherever everybody could get it. I remember when we were producing this one, Benon had the foresight and the producer's eye and ear to call the one and only Michael Owuma to be a part of this song. So I'll ask him to come join us as well. Hey.
There's a party right here.
Yeah. Hey, hey. Chawadanga mazina.
Setula masetule.
Chawadanga mazina.
Setula masetule.
Chawadanga mazina.
Setula masetule.
Chawadanga mazina.
Setula masetule.
Zedi rapa wa masali nyambalanga kalidinali. Microphone Muhammadali bakadali wembidali. Rap webere mere muwala yenze kansali. Wembera mulwali jogera Luganda nga mulwanya muli. Twale erikuga matino twali zamuli. Zedi muzukulu wa Chintu mutabani wa Nambi. GNL Zamba.
ku lutambi
nga sukaali bwawomera ebikenembi bwe mbeera ku ngoma eŋŋanda nange
mbeera wakabi
nga komando bwabeera mu firimu
enjogerere
emphasis nga bale francis asoma
amawulire
bakijana gamba nywegere biiti kempanirire rhymes bakayirire nga katunkumave luga flow kweno beats
kabiri tukumandule
tubakuba tubasabula nga kikokozaawo ebuleho omwana wa baba teka rhyme ku ngoma eŋŋanda walala omwana wa bawe teka rhyme ku ngoma nkoge walala omwana wa baba teka rhyme ku ngoma eŋŋanda walala omwana wa bawe teka rhyme ku ngoma si twagenda mu kibira tusangayo erisajja nerimbuusa okola ki ku ttaka lya ssaabasajja okuza n'agaviiri kyebikova mu osooka gwombulira omuti mwe laba genero we mumenyera amannya g'abajjajja ndi muzzukulu wa tupac eyebase ndowooza n'ebisoko obiwulira nfuuse ndi mutabani wa ssemakulu eyasibuka eye jjajja wange lupiya yeyasooka okukole ewa ssaabasajja sekukyala wabula gye enviiri zisiba kubanga nkyalimu obuvubuka ndi wa kika ky'abamazina ab'eddirama genera kusuulira siranga naawe abadde asombowadde kati olaba jangu ekoona bebiwato banange yabayabaye muwulire amarapu ku ngoma eŋŋanda wabula ono omwana wabawe twongere hip-hop ku ngoma eŋŋanda walala omwana wababa teeka rhyme ku ngoma eŋŋanda walala omwana wabawe teeka rhyme kwata nyenya kyusa kirira 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 kyapiriwo GNL
nakyali ku mpewo
Luganda rhymes ebyanga kasa ne bw'oba ng'oleeta ku reda
tosendawo
ndi wakyewunyo nga barapa
nasangawo
ng'owulira endulu nga twale mugusu gwe basala GNL lyenzamba kuba batesi ebisoko babita kali mululu ate ebitontome mbiwutanga sukukulu wakabi sakyali ku mpewo Luganda rhymes kwanga
kakasangwawo
ne bw'oba ng'oleeta ku reda
tosendawo
ndi wakyewunyo nga barapa
nasangawo
ng'owulira endulu nga twale mugusu gwe basala GNL lyenzamba kuba batesi ebisoko bwembirya bampita kali mululu ate ebitontome mbiwutanga sukukulu Jawadanga amazina
setula masetule
Jawadanga amazina
setula masetule
Jawadanga amazina
setula masetule
Jawadanga amazina
setula masetule nyenya kyusa kirira nyenya kyusa kirira nyenya kyusa kirira nyenya kyusa kirira
wabula ono omwana wa baba sema tuwadde rapu ku ngoma eŋŋanda omwana wa baba ku ngoma eŋŋanda wabula gwe mwami Zamba tweyanziza tweyanzike era munange omwana wa baba yongera okuwombesa Uganda kyawaddanga amazina kyawaddanga amazina
setula masetule
kyawaddanga amazina
setula masetule
kyawaddanga amazina
setula masetule setula masetule
owulira engoma bwewoma hey.
When I say GNL, the legend of Zamba, many people were like, oh, he's just put out his first record and he's already calling himself a legend, but they did not understand that legend also means the story. So it's greatness of no limits, the story of Zamba. The story of Zamba is always evolving. The story of Zamba is always connecting to the roots. The story of Zamba is very Pan-African. So you're going to hear that I represent my language, no matter what stage I'm on, whether it's on the Spear album or Koyi Koyi or Speaking Vernacular. With Speaking Vernacular, it was more of even a rebel-like sigenda kwogera Luzungu, just because muteekwa okwiga respecting olulimi lwammwe. We grew up in the era where it was cool not to know Luganda. So you're going to find those strings in all of my art. I kind of find like that hip-hop in Uganda is kind of skewed and only looked at through a very narrow lens. In my music, I hope to educate, create a revolution of understanding, and give people new thoughts. A song like Story Ya Luka. Story Ya Luka took on its own life, but I think many people connect to it, or our society connected to it, because it came from a place of truth. During that time when I wrote Story Ya Luka, I was living on one mattress, and I had a computer which was on the floor. This mattress was also on the floor. I'd decided to ignore a job that had been offered to me to go work as an environmental district officer. I ignored that. I said, I'm not going to go to a place where mosquitoes have teeth. So I'm going to hustle and make it as one of Uganda's greatest rappers. I didn't know how I was going to do it, and I went through a lot. I suffered for my dream. I believed in myself. And during that time when I wrote the song, I remember I just had a CD with beats, and my computer would only take the CD, and then you'd play the beats and just hear. And I remember an instrumental coming on, and it connected with me. And I began thinking of people that we had lost from my side of the family, side of my mother's family. There were many uncles, beautiful people, lovely people who used to come home and play with us, gone. On my father's side, my auntie had a very traumatic experience. Even up to now, my dad, in order to teach us a lesson, drove us to Nkokonjero to go check out our auntie. She was a very beautiful lady. But the time that we saw her, she was so thin and her skin was almost... Let me not even go there. It was bad. It was really, really bad. Not long, I'd just lost a friend also to the disease. And he did not tell anybody. He just kind of, one of those people that you meet in club, you talk about rap each and every time. You're talking about, oh, West Coast is the best. I'm like, no, West Coast is nonsense. Only Dr. Dre is holding it down with the beats. It's East Coast where it's at. So we would always have that kind of conversation. I loved him. And he disappeared for a year, and then he just died. So by the time this music spoke to me and the song came to me, Story Ya Luka, I didn't write it for any commercial value. The song just presented itself to me, and I knew something had to be done through the art to save the next generation. The Philip Bongole Retiers had done their thing. What was I going to do for my generation? Because they were dropping like flies. And Story Ya Luka was born out of that. Thinking about people who are missing, Benon did a very good job bringing the acoustics through and the sonics through so that they would evoke the emotion that the song wanted to portray.
Luka, embeera y'obudde etandise okukyuka, ab'okukyalo batandise kumusoma nga sitika. Tino yebise mu ssuuka, simanyi oba anassuuka, simanyi oba anaayimuka. Yali DJ nga nze oba nga ggwe, yazaalibwa Kyaggwe, yali akuuta turntables ga Kyangwe. He had everything going his way, muvubuka mulungi nga buli muwala amulwanira nti no way. Oh, baabu we kati bagamba ayina siriimu, nyama yamuggwako ng'atabaga kanyama wa mukimu. Ebiwuka byalina tebitibwa jiko oba vim. From the way he looks, nobody ever wants to be with him. Kulwekyo emikwano gy'abadde alina gyonna gigenze, n'abamwagala kuba bank account yali egezze. Weteeke mu ngatto ze, kikyo wandikoze ng'okoze, gense kuyisanga amawulu ge batoze. Luka bamusanga yetuze, Luka bamusanga yetuze, Luka bamusanga yetuze. Listen, buli mulwadde wa siriimu leka okusonga buli saa lw'obeera, because exactly the same thing could happen. Mwagale nga bwe weeyagala, saagala oseke, because exactly the same thing could happen. Buli mulwadde wa siriimu tandika okumuyisa ng'omuntu. Yali ava ku show y'abarwapa Luka, temanya nti olunaku siriimu lwali muwanika kalabba. Olunaku lwe yali nga talina lwabba, lwe yasanga malayika ekansanga kwemukwezo kaunti eza Ausbar. Yamugulira sman of ice z'alinnya kaali kaama, omuwala n'amugamba mbu ye yali bazuka amwekeera. Kataba Luka bw'atandise okuweekeera, yali anoonya essanyu siriimu gwafunyemu ng'empeera. Obulamu bwe butandise kalubanga mpeera, takyafuluma mu nnyumba. kati akoleza Rex okwerabira his incident of unprotected sex. Ace has erased his dream of ever driving a Lex. Obulwadde mubuzinze mu ssuuka ng'ejjiba eribeera mu Rolex. Takyafuluma mu nnyumba kuba buli lwafuluma mu nnyumba abasonga baseka bagamba ebbugumu ly'abavubuka
epakanyizibwa na biwuka.
Eno ye story ya Luka. Listen, buli mulwadde wa siriimu
tandika okuyisa ng'omuntu
leka okusonga buli saa lw'obeera.
omulabye mutuntu
Because exactly the same thing could happen.
to you too.
Mwagale nga bwe bweyagala byali bigambo bya
Kristo
saagala oseke.
omulabye n'obutulutuntu
Because exactly the same thing could.
happen to you too.
Buli mulwadde wa siriimu tandika okumuyisa ng'omuntu ng'omuntu. Bajja kuwaanawaana kuba abakazi obayitamu nga striker. Buli omufu biyita n'ojjama owulira olina effumu lya shark. Naye k'obe muddu oba kabaka ng'oli munene nga straka. Siriimu ajja kubaka wuliriza obubaka. Siriimu mulwanyise nga Mugabe bwe yalwanyisa abazungu. Ne neighbor mugambe nti najeya. Because we are war with ace people, we calling you for backup. Oyakoye ng'omuweeka omulwadde seba lwaki omugobeeka. Sanyukiramu naye nga mutudde wamuka.
akeeka
Oba munaakwatibwa amajimbi kitono nnyo okutola ku nsimbi mulaga okwagala ng'empale ze zitandise okusagala mukubiriza okumire. A system. They said that there was when I learned my cousin Tim was a victim. Ace was in his body, breaking down his system. I did what I could to keep my brother alive in the hood. I understood. Joy only comes from lending a weak man a hand. A nation built on discrimination is like a house built on sand. I understand that Ace is an enigma, but we gotta find it in our hearts to fight the stigma. Reconnect with our brothers like loose lines of stigma. You got Ace in your body.
feel out for you.
This song is out for you, ma nigga. Buli mulwadde wa siriimu
tandika okuyisa
leka
ng'omuntu
okusonga buli saa lw'obeera.
omulabye mutuntu
Because exactly the same thing could happen.
happen to you too.
Wagale nga bwe weeyagala
byali bigambo bya Kristo
saagala oseke.
omulabye n'obutulutuntu
Because exactly the same thing could.
happen to you too.
Buli mulwadde wa siriimu tandika okumuyisa ng'omuntu ng'omuntu. Listen. You know, living with AIDS doesn't mean they're fixing themselves. You know, it's you living with a mother with AIDS, a sister, a cousin, a neighbor. Let's stop the stigma. It's every global citizen's responsibility. It's my responsibility. It's your responsibility.
I moved to America, USA, California, West Hollywood to be exact. And I really wanted to expand on my craft. I wanted to take time to learn from the best. Hollywood is the mecca of entertainment. And I believe that in Uganda, I'd got to a point where I'd plateaued and whatever I was doing wasn't giving me the joy it used to give me before. Matter of fact, I came off stage, I think on a show somewhere in Makerere. We had a great show, but I felt like I didn't want to do that show anymore because year in, year out, you would do a country tour and then you go to the same shows, meet the same people, go out to the same clubs. I felt like my life needed to elevate. And I agreed with my partner that Los Angeles would be the place for us to try out. Now, LA is just like Kampala, but with more money, you get me, and more talented people. You could throw a stone from this area and hit 3 great guitarists. Or you could throw a stone in this direction and find great directors. It is a place where I found that I have really grown in my craft, and I've grown my network, and my dream wasn't to only break into the market in America, because I think I did a gig. I was signed to a gig for a year, I think in my 2nd month there. And I was performing in Las Vegas, I was performing in Hollywood itself, a place in Glendale. I found that I was growing and I was learning, but I needed to also expand from not only being an audio storyteller, but becoming a visual storyteller as well. I take time to write books nowadays. The other times I used to just write little notes to myself, but right now I want to compile stories. So whatever avenue of storytelling, I'm dipping my hands into that. It might not be me becoming the greatest storyteller, Ugandan storyteller in Hollywood, but I'm so sure I'm going to spark the mind or create a bridge for Uganda's next superstar. So, love and music. Actually, this is a very dope question. This is a dope question. I find it it's really, really amazing. Before women were empowered, I think in our communities, it was rare to see people working together. I found myself becoming more creative working with my partner. I don't know which came first. Was it the music or was it the love? But I can tell you that on the day that we met, we talked about albums. We talked about Tracy Chapman for like an hour. This is like a lady that just does acoustic music. We talked about Tracy Chapman albums. Everybody left and we were just the last two people left in a bar. So they might have arrived at the same time, the music and the love, because it was love at first sight with me and Tamar. In the ancient times, Solomon had the Queen of Sheba. In the current times, actually before even the current times, Pharaoh Ramses had Nefertiti. And in the same spirit, greatness of no limit, GNL Zamba, Omwana Wa Baaba, Pia Zita Serunjoji, has Miriam Tamar. Yeah. Yes.
Olwalero Mbaga, Olwalero Mbaga, Olwalero Mbaga, Mbaga.
Any space, any time, transcend realms through a rhyme. I will love you forever.
Hey, Olwalero Mbaga.
Earthly kiss is divine.
Yes.
Watch dimensions unite.
Ah.
I will love you forever.
Olwalero Mbaga. Ha. Wallahi. Ga wallahi. Wallahi. Ga wallahi. It's cosmic, galactic, celestial, gravitational, kuoma, kunyuma, kuzama amanyi guguma. It's boundless, never-ending, indestructible, everlasting. Ndiwuka Nyanja Luka kunsi okulaba nti ndibeera naawe olubeerera. Dunia yangu, ni dunia yangu, ni dunia yangu. Ni dunia yangu, ni dunia yangu, ni dunia yangu.
If I walk in the world without you, my soul would sing for you. I will love you forever.
Olwalero Mbaga.
Stars a constellation of sound. Cosmic love knows no bounds. I will love you forever.
Kumazi wenasoko kukulaba wampa haga. Ku Venus nompa kiss nonerabiza baga. Ku Jupiter life yali sweeter. Ngandi n'omwana nalulunja nsuuta. Nakumisika ku Neptune nenkuyiza tune. Ngekuyita twesange ku Earth mu June. Baby ompewezanga mpewo ya monsoon. Buli lunaku ebeera love story mu afternoon. Eddoboozi linga lya malayika ku lusozi Sayun. Kankutwale tulabe Pluto mu weather balloon. Forever nga kulisa tutunweza maroon. Nga utulaba constellation mu kibira kya baboon. Sing for me now. Wallahi. Ga wallahi. Wallahi. Ga wallahi. Olwalero Mbaga. Olwalero Mbaga. Olwalero Mbaga, Mbaga.
As a person who has always embraced Pan-Africanism, and I believe I'm one of the biggest Pan-African soldiers, I consider myself a prince of Pan-Africanism in the same air as Marcus Garvey, in the same air as Selassie, in the same air as all the pharaohs that we have seen before us, the Mansa Musas. I believe that I'm in that very same line and on their same agenda. How do I go ahead and marry someone who is not from here? I'll take this opportunity to remind everybody that as a Muganda man, wherever my seed spreads, those children have Uganda. That's the first one. And you'll find that also in fighting for African rights, people like Obama have gone further to open up doors where our brothers have always been curtailed. I find that it's an opportunity to remember people like Frederick Douglass, who was the very, very first person to write the Negro experience or a black experience and connect African Americans with Africans, that he was also mixed and that he also married white. Nina Simone married a white woman. Kofi Annan married a white woman. So for me, I think it is an opportunity to expand on our tribe of humanity and further our causes as Africans. It's an opportunity to connect on a plateau and bring in other people on what makes us special as Africans. Our table as Africans, when we get rich, we'd not build high fences. We'd build a longer table and invite everybody. Lucky for me, my wife is from Nebi. She looks white, but she's from Nebi. Kabakaita Kapio, Chitegera, Kapio Miriam Tama. So even if she's of Jewish descent, we find that whenever there's been a cross-section of black and Jewish people, greatness has been born. Through my art, I hope that we can connect. I hope that we can live in each other's worlds as comrades. I hope that we can live into each other's worlds as partners. 3 things I'm passionate about. The environment, that's one. That's why my company was named Baboon Forest Entertainment. It's because we live in this area that's beautiful, that's always providing us with air. We live in this very beautiful, blessed world, this blue bubble that's floating in the sky. We don't even know how it's being held up, but it's special to us, and we have no other place to call home. The second thing is storytelling and African identity. It's only through telling our stories that we can truly, truly prosper, not only surviving, but also thriving. Telling your real African story, as in Mujeye Nsimbi Muzimanyi. Tell stories about that in Nsimbi. It's something of the earth, something of the water. Discover the stories of why that was special to all our traditions and the connecting strings of our society. The fabrics and the DNA of what makes us who we are is through the stories. And that's how we can create entrepreneurial ventures to Maleko to Wangule. The last thing that I'm passionate about is love. God is love. And at our highest selves, at the highest level of our self-expression, we can achieve that greatness that has no limit. The greatness that has no limit imitates the energy of God. At the highest level of self-expression, we can all achieve greatness of no limits. GNL is not a person. GNL is a philosophy.
What? GNL Zamba. Okuyaka una feeling ozikweku. Ayayayay onyenyeza makute. Omutima gwange gwonna kutakuludde. Ndanyiri kisimba nga mundisasa mudde. Dance floor labazonna bozifuguludde. Wengenda okuwasa kirabika musudde. I love the way that she's shaking. She's on the dance floor dancing with. Yo, bali ku floor bakozesako ng'ebikuuna. Rhymes eziwoma GNL eziwuuna. Beat ekona, bass ewuuna. Ayayayagagaganyaka. Let me hear all the guys say. Let me hear all the chicks say. Chika 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 chika. Chika 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 chika. Mama wote yakuwaleka. Tata wote yakuwaleka. Baina ne mujizima. Chika 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 chika. Newe kabaka tono gwereka. Newe kuma kunene gwereka. Kabina banka leke. Enyenya kubamba wala chizika. I'm a study pop pimp when I pop my. I'm no Jay-Z but I can rock this. Simba wakadinku wemo. Emikono jube wakulu. I'm from Kampala so I'm not a fella. GNL Zamba the ghetto story. Can't match my shoes the ghetto. I get better with time like wine in a cellar. Anyaluleta. When I make it rain later. We sipping kasese and we need some coconut drinks with what? Let me hear how the guys say. Let me hear how the chicks say. Chika 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 chika. Chika 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 chika. Mama wote yakuwaleka. Tata wote yakuwaleka. Baina ne mujizima.
Kikankane.
bwembeera mu kirambo nga noonya switira
Loving.
noonya sex ekiwata ekiringa
Bearingi.
ndi mu kintu kikutte mu steya
Bearingi.
mbawunsinga ng'eyalinye ku sepu
Sepulingi.
sente nyingi ng'enviza mayanja
Kanji.
sekisebogi mbakuŋŋanyanga
Haji.
myaka nsanvu nzinyisa amaanyi mangi Thunder Club, roll the boat, kwasa nenzina bazinanga bossi zezinanga
Kampasa.
bwe kikankana obulungi ng'oyo
Oyo muwasa.
omuziki mmere nzisobola kufa
Awusa.
zinanga Michael Ross ku 20
23.
jukira mu katayimu nga tuli mu AC
Three.
disika ebiseera ebyo omwana zali
Zalinga free.
they used to say that the best things in life
You are free.
nkomewo nga Scorpion mu season
Season 3.
mukikube nga Michael Jackson mu
83.
ghetto jepita bagamba
Manje kiri.
kulawo hiti buli sawa nga kyome let me hear all the guys say
Kikankane.
let me hear all the chicks say
Kikankane.
chochika
Kikankane. Kikankane.
mama wote yakuwaleka
Kikankane.
tata wote yakuwaleka
Kikankane.
beine ne mukizimbe
Leka kikankane.
chochika
Leka kikankane. Kikankane.
ladies and gentlemen on the side I got Tommy Race and I've been your boy GNL Zamba. I hope you have had as much fun as I have had during this conversation session. Don't forget, this is a Swangz Avenue production with our guys of Tusker, TML, Conversations, Koyi Koyi, Ya Kikankane.